Mutine, adjective. Used to describe an individual whose spirit is unyielding, unconstrained, one who navigates life on their own terms, effortlessly. They do not always show up on time, but when they arrive, you notice. An individual confident in their contradictions. They know the rules, but behave as if they do not exist. Mutine, the new fragrance by Miu Miu, defined by you.
Hello, and welcome to It's a Fandom Thing. I'm your host, Erin Marlowe, and each week I'm joined by a panel of guests to discuss all things fandom and pop culture, primarily from a female perspective. You'll find everything from fanfic, to cosplay, to Schitt's Creek, to Supernatural, and everything in between. So put on your favorite piece of fandom merch, set aside that fanfic that you're writing about your OTP, and sit back and enjoy this week's episode. Hello, and welcome to this week's episode of Pop Culture and Fandom News. I'm your host, Erin Marlowe, and on Friday's episode, we are continuing our look at grunge music with a look at the band Alice in Chains. I will say, and I've started my prep for Pearl Jam, which is how we're rounding out things, but I think, and this kind of surprised me, I want to say, I think this is my second favorite of the four. And it shocked the hell out of me. I just want to say it was probably the most shocking thing during my preparation. I don't know. Maybe it'll change once I get back into Pearl Jam, but we'll see. But anyway, that's what we're going to be talking about on Friday's episode. But first, let me introduce my panelists for our pop culture episode and then also our Alice in Chains episode. So first up, the host of OK Real Quick, Carla. Hello, Carla.
Hello, Erin. Hello, everybody.
And also joining me, returning from last week, and she will also be on next week to round out the month, Sara. Hello, Sara.
Hello.
Thank you both so much for being here with me. I'm excited for Friday's episode, but I'm also really excited for this week's Pop Culture and Fandom News episode. And when we get to the trailer, I don't know if either of you watched it before or if it will be one of those first time. Oh, cool. It's going to be a first time for both of you.
I'm very excited. Yes.
I'm very excited to hear your reactions to this trailer because I wasn't sure what trailer I was going to pick. And then it just kind of happened. So yeah, but before we get into that, Carla, what is one thing in fandom or pop culture that you're excited about, into, wanting to throw things at the wall about?
Well, I know Erin's going to be incredibly shocked when I say this, but I am very into all of the TikToks that we've been exchanging about Sid and Carmi from The Bear and about Smosh. Because, okay, and now listen, if you go to the It's a Fandom Thing Pod Discord server, which is a blast, it's a great time. You should definitely get in on that. I threw in there something saying, I just want somebody over the age of 40 to please watch Smosh Summer Games so that they can be excited with me. And Erin said, I will trade you Smosh Summer Games if you watch The Bear. And I'm like, I am in. So I've been watching The Bear up until Hulu decided that I no longer needed to watch The Bear, like 3 episodes from the season finale of season 4. And it said, hey, but Hulu decided that, hey, you don't actually have a Hulu plan. Whose plan are you using? And I'm like, why do you need to know? And we're not going to get into why Hulu would need to know that. But I am like stressing out over, okay, when can I sneak in just enough time to watch these last 3 episodes? But in the meantime, Erin and I are sending each other TikToks of Sid and Carmi and other characters too, okay? Because there are other characters too, and we like them as well. And like just fun fan theories and some really heartbreaking things where like she'll just send me one and I'm like, oh wow, cool. I really wanted to cry right now. So it's a very good timing. I had the tissues and everything, like good stuff. And me, I'm just sending her just random Smosh edits and Smosh clips because that is who I am. Honestly, it's been tremendous fun and it's been a huge highlight of my couple of weeks since we started doing this. Because it's just so much fun to share something with a friend and to get excited about the things that we're each excited for. And just to share that, just sharing that is a huge part of what fandom is about, whether it's a fandom of 2 or a fandom of millions. And I think that, when we talk about fandom, we kind of forget that fandom doesn't have to be this global thing where you talk to a million strangers about something that you like. It can just be a couple of people sharing fun things together. And that's been my thing that I'm into.
Yeah, and I'm not crying. I'm seriously not my eyes irritated. It looks like I'm sobbing over here.
You're allergic to sentiment.
No, it has been so much fun. And I have to say, Carla, these past few days when you have not been able to watch it have been killing me. I can't even begin to tell you. I am like, the fact that you have not been able to get to the final episode of season 4, Goodbye, which I have watched that episode. I can't even tell you how many times I've watched that episode. Actually, today I was like, I can't wait. I have to watch this. And then I'm like, no. And I watched it halfway through and I'm like, I can't do it. And so the fact that you haven't gotten to that episode and I can't send you these TikToks that I've bookmarked, or I can't ask you your thoughts, or I can't hear you, not hear, but, like virtually hear you experiencing that episode for the first time. It's like, it's so painful. And I'm just like, so like over here, like, oh my gosh. And you hadn't even finished the wedding episode. You hadn't finished episode 7.
I know. Like, oh my God. It's like the worst kind of edging, because I had gotten pretty close to the end. I had gotten pretty close to finishing. All right. And then I stopped the video because, I had afternoon parenting stuff to do. I was like, okay, I'll just get back to it tomorrow. I'll just jump back in. And tomorrow showed up and Hulu's like, you thought. You thought you were going to enjoy life.
So have you not been able to get back into Hulu at all?
No. And I haven't been able to try my tablet because with my child being homesick for a couple of days and then having to scramble to catch up on work and home stuff and everything, it is so inconvenient. Between Hulu cutting me off and then my child just getting in the way of me and the bear, just everybody's being so rude to me.
Well, I did, because I will tell you, I Googled how to fix that in case you were having the problem the next day, and I forgot to tell you, and it was you have to restart your router. It might be picking up a different IP address, something like that. I don't know. But it's so frustrating to me because I'm like, you're so close to done. But it has been so much fun experiencing that. And I have to say, and I know Sara is a fan of The Bear, of course. She was on our regular episode covering it and then our Patreon episode covering season 4. But what's been so much fun is, and I realize I kind of tainted this beforehand, but having somebody else that ships Sid and Carmi makes it so much fun because Carla has picked up on things that I did not pick up on. So I'm like, this is so much fun. And
I'm feeding the monster.
Yeah, and it's giving. No, you are in a good way.
Damn it, Carla.
Although we both have, talked about how ridiculous some of the shippers in that fandom are with things, because they really are.
Oh, I can imagine.
But then there's also, other aspects to, there's a lot of racism that goes on with that ship outside of people that ship it because, it is a white man and a black woman. And so there is some racism going on there with some of the people in the Bear subreddit. But there's also just the ridiculousness of some of the things and some of the... I've never defended the character of Claire so much in my life.
I bet you never thought you'd find yourself there, huh?
No, and I don't even like her. And I'm thinking when Carla eventually goes and listens to the podcast episode, she's going to be like, you were a lot nicer to Claire when we were talking about this.
Oh my God, now I especially cannot wait. I want to hear all about that. But, going back to the racism component, because I covered something similar in my podcast about Zach and Lisa from Saved by the Bell. They had that one episode where it looked like they were going to start dating. And then suddenly it's like, oh, nothing happened. Haha, JK. And there was like a backlash from certain segment of the population who were not into a young Black woman and a young white dude smooching on a TV show. So yeah, it's 2025. It's many, many years later, still tracks.
Yeah, I mean, and lots of people are just like, just let her not have a love interest or a romance. She doesn't have to have one. And meanwhile, the same people are like and they're like, the show isn't about that. And like, I know the show isn't about that. It's a component of any show. And meanwhile, those same people ship Jess and Richie, which I ship them too.
Right.
But I'm just saying there's a little bit of hypocrisy going on there. If you're going to say this shouldn't be happening. And anyway, I could get into a long thing about that.
Welcome to the Bear episode 3 on If It's a Fandom Thing pod.
I actually, Carla, I have been meaning actually, because you've been into this, I'm like, okay, when I recorded the episodes, well, the first one, I wasn't shipping Sid and Carmi. And then when we did season 4, I was like, well, no one wants to hear me talk about Sid and Carmi, so I'm not really going to talk about it much except for in one part because I'll get crap about it. And so, or people will just not want to talk about it. I'm looking at you, Jen. You're the main one that gives me crap about it. And so then when Carla was watching it and I was like, watch her not like it. And then she did. And I was like, okay, I'm going to try and do like a special episode just with Carla where I can just geek out about this ship and go into it.
Let's do it.
Okay, cool. But it has to be after you watch the whole thing because especially.
Yeah. In 2.5 more episodes, I'll be able to do that. Just let me finish, Hulu.
Yeah, Hulu, please. It's
metaphorical blue balls here.
So, sorry, Sarah, we're just geeking out about that, but it has been fun.
Oh, it's totally fine.
And it's been fun watching Smosh. I am enjoying it a lot. It's really funny. It's totally making me miss theater and all that stuff. It's reminding me a lot of that time in my life. So it's been interesting watching it, but it is funny because Carla sends me these funny TikToks and then I'm like, here's this heartbreaking thing to make you cry. Like Carla said, they're not all Sid and Carmi. I send a lot of Richie ones because Richie's my favorite character. So I send a lot of Richie ones. So
there's a lot of emotional whiplash going on in those DMs.
yeah. But it's been so much. I can't even begin to say how much I've enjoyed it. So yeah. So I'll stop though because we do have someone else here. I'm sorry, Sarah.
Totally okay. I mean, Adrian and I went off on a New York
That's true.
rock radio last episode.
That was pretty cool though. I loved that. That was so awesome. So Sarah, other than watching us do this, what are you into?
Oh, God, there was like a bunch of stuff. So I just kind of picked one. My husband and I have been binge watching Animal Kingdom, which was originally on TNT and is now streaming on Netflix. And we've really been enjoying it. These are absolutely terrible, horrible people. And I find myself rooting for them every episode. And I don't know why. Why do I like these people? I don't understand. I mean, the basis of the show, it's kind of Point Break-ish, I guess, where they're criminals and they rob banks and all this sort of stuff, but then they're big into surfing and all the extreme sports. So I didn't know this. I guess it's based on a Australian movie called Animal Kingdom, and that's what it's supposed to be based on. But I brought it up because the actor that plays Pope, and his name is eluding me now, because I'm having a brain fart. He also played Dr. Abbott on The Pit and just won the Emmy for Best Guest Actor in a Series. And he is phenomenal as the character Pope on Animal Kingdom. And absolutely, he's another character that first season, like Richie, I absolutely hated him, could not stand him. And now he's my favorite character on the show. I mean, there wasn't like a huge character arc like Richie, because Richie's character arc is amazing. One of the best out there. There wasn't a huge one like that, but like when you compare his character to the other characters on the show, somehow he is the most unstable character, but the most stable character at the same time. It's very strange. And Ellen Barkin plays the mother, and she is downright terrifying, like as a crime boss. But I mean, overall, I think it's very, very well cast. And we are on season 4 now, and Emily Deschanel just showed up. And I guess she's going to be a regular, aka Bones from, Dr. Brennan from Bones. Sort of a different character for her because I'm so used to seeing her as Dr. Brennan. And now she's like this junkie. So what was sort of a switch there, but it's sort of, we're in the middle of season 4 or like just beginning season or like maybe a third of the way through season 4. But now I have to wait to watch it because it is now football season. So it is all football all the time until February. So
I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's okay. I'll survive. I will survive. So that is what I am into right now.
That's been on my long list of ones to watch, and that's Sean Hattasey. He was also in the movie The Faculty, everybody. I love that movie so much. One of those great 90s horror movies because it also has Josh Hartnett in it, and I love Josh Hartnett, especially 90s Josh Hartnett with his hair. I don't care. I loved his hair. But also in Animal Kingdom is Mr. Scott Speedman, so that's another reason I want to watch it.
Yes. I know. And when we first started, I'm like, where do I know him from? Oh, Underworld.
Felicity.
I never watched it.
That's the big thing for me.
Yeah, I never watched Felicity. I know. I'm sorry.
You don't have to apologize at all.
No, I know. I do feel like I need to apologize for not seeing Halloween yet. So I do need
that. You do need to apologize.
Yeah, I definitely need to apologize for that. I know it's a travesty. I will remedy that in October.
Yes, see, Fergie's even pissed about it.
I can hear. I'm sorry, Fergie.
Fergie's watched it more than you have.
Did not mean to insult you, Fergie. Please forgive me. I will buy you a bag of dog treats.
It's the least you could do.
Yeah, she would easily be bribed. Yeah, Fergie's watched so much Michael Myers. That's probably why the stand doesn't bother her of Michael Myers. Because she's like, I've seen that guy a lot. That's that guy.
Oh, it's that dude. Cool.
That's that dude.
Whereas Luke would be, what the hell?
That's that dude that murders people. She's okay with that.
It's totally fine. No big deal.
Yeah. Well, and this is related to the bear only in I have become addicted to going on Reddit, and I really don't think this is a healthy addiction of mine. But I'm putting that aside for a second. And the reason I say I don't think it's healthy is I get into all of these, like, it's the Sag in me, and I'm instantly like, I'm just going to just get into all of these arguments with people that are annoying me and pissing me off. And that's where I went to do my Claire defending, and it was the weirdest moment in my life. Although recently I had a comment that got like over 500 like upvotes or something. And I'm like, so I'm basically famous now.
Pretty much.
In the bear subreddit.
Yeah.
But in the bear subreddit, I'm bringing this up because I think this is something that happens sometimes in fandom spaces. And it's that whole, let's separate politics from art, which you can't really do. But what happened was there was a user in the bear subreddit that shared a post about the recent interview in Italy during the press tour, or it was an Italian interview during the Venice Film Festival. And it was with Io Debre and, excuse me, my voice cracked there, Julia Roberts and Andrew Garfield. And so they're promoting their film that's coming out called After the Hunt. And this film deals with an accusation. I think it might be sexual assault related. And the interviewer pointedly asked Andrew Garfield and Julia Roberts and left Io Debre out of the conversation and pointedly asked them, now that Black Lives Matter and Me Too is over, which it's not, number one, but pointedly leaving out a Black woman from that conversation is really gross, racist, disgusting. And good on Andrew Garfield and Julia Roberts for basically being like clocking her right away. Andrew Garfield turned in his seat and didn't even look at her. Julia Roberts is like, can you take off your sunglasses? Because I don't know who you're talking to. And,
Yep.
and can you repeat the question? And so this interview was shared in the Bear subreddit. Now, in the Bear subreddit, there have been interviews shared with lots of the cast. When Jeremy Allen White did his whole Calvin Klein ad, which was a huge, big deal because of the way he looked, that was fine. But this was shared, and the mods deleted it because they said that politics... Let me just read from here. So this person said, basically, today I posted about Io doing an interview for her upcoming movie and being excluded from a question about the Me Too and Black Lives Matter movements. And the powers that be here decided my post was an attack on the current administration. And the person's like, I'm not even American, and removed it. They have not responded to my message asking how that was an attack. Nice self-report, by the way, guys, they said.
Yeah.
And then said, I expect to face some sort of retaliation, but at least I know the stance of this team. And so this led to locked, like, people were posting all over the place because then that thread got locked so that no one could comment. There were people commenting, and then the mods locked it. And then one mod said, we got hacked. And it was... We're just like,
oh, come on.
Seriously.
Right.
Okay, Anthony Weiner back in like whatever year that was.
I know. And then another moderator said, I didn't know anything about this. That would have never happened under my watch. And then another mod got so frustrated and upset with all the attacks because then every time a thread would get locked, somebody else would create one and be like, no, we are going to talk about this. You can't separate art and politics. And they were like, the Bear even has to do with like life and politics and gentrification and everything like that, and class and money and everything. So you can't like exclude that stuff. You can't allow interviews with other cast members, but then not allow this interview. And so it turned into this whole huge thing. And then they changed the no politics rule, the quote unquote no politics rule, because they said they had a no politics rule. And they changed it to where you could have politics in there as long as it was related to the show in some way or to the people in the show. But no, like, promoting candidates or anything like that. But what was so, I don't know, welcome and about this, it was horrible, but the part that was welcome is that 99% of the people in this subreddit were like, this is bullshit. This is absolute bullshit. And
Good.
Gathered together and made sure that the mods didn't just let this go away. And the mods reinstated the deleted thread. They first reinstated it and then locked it. And then people were like, no, you're not doing that. You're going to unlock it. And so then they unlocked it, which was good. And it was because people got together and were like, no. And like me and a bunch of other people said, you cannot separate art from politics. And also, this is not a time where you don't say anything. This is not a time where you can be silent. And if you're being silent, it speaks volumes to who you are. You know, and the fact that they associate this as an attack on the current administration tells you all you need to know.
Yep.
So, you know, and a bunch of them quit, like a bunch of the mods quit. And so, yeah. Yeah. It was huge. And, you know, I had been kind of like banning myself, as Carla knows from DMs. I was like, I need to ban myself from Reddit because I keep going in there and, you know, doing all these defending and all this other stuff. But then this happened and it was just like, oh my gosh. So even though some of the annoying, like, fighting about characters or plot lines or stuff like that goes on, there is a good side to some fandom, and when fandom gets together and when they actually do the right thing. Because if a bunch of people hadn't responded and been outraged and been like, hey, you know what? No, we're not going to put up with this. It would have been quietly swept under the rug and no one would have known. Or the only people that would have known are the people that would have seen it before it would have been deleted. And so it was just a nice thing in a subreddit that sometimes can be awful to be in. It was just a nice coming together, you know, and then there was a whole big thread, and this is where my one response that got over 500 upvotes. I don't know why. It just made me very happy. Okay. But there was one thread in there that was started where it said, since we can't talk about politics, and they talked about politics in the show. And so, yeah.
Nice. Nice.
So that's what I'm into and upset. I was upset by the mods, but I'm into the fact that the whole community, at least 99% of them, there were, of course, those other ones that were like, oh, stop it. Don't turn everything into something about race. And, people like that. But for the most part, people were not like that. And people came together as a community and went, no, we're not going to take this. So, yeah.
Nice.
That's awesome. I'm so glad to hear that.
Yeah, it was really nice. And especially the fact that things changed because of that. Okay, well, we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we are going to be getting rid of some dust bunnies under our beds as we watch the trailer. Sarah. Oh, my God. As we watch the trailer. You just looked away when I said that. I can't believe you're putting me through another trailer like this. I mean, I put you through Wuthering Heights last. This will not be on that level. I promise. There's not going to be any fingers in fish's mouths.
Whoa.
But I did give Adrian his Valentine's Day plans. So
yes, you did.
But yeah,
yes, you did.
When we come back, we're going to talk about the trailer for Brian Fuller's movie Dust Bunny. So we'll be right back.
So good, so good, so good.
New fall arrivals are at Nordstrom Rack stores now. Get ready to save big with up to 60% off Vince, Kurt Geiger London, and more.
How did I not know Rack has Adidas?
Because there's always something new.
Join the Nordy Club at Nordstrom Rack to unlock exclusive discounts on your favorite brands. Shop new arrivals first and more. Plus, get an extra 5% off every Rack purchase with a Nordstrom credit card. Great brands, great prices. That's why you Rack.
When did making plans get this complicated? It's time to streamline with WhatsApp, the secure messaging app that brings the whole group together. Use polls to settle dinner plans. Send event invites and pin messages so no one forgets Mom's 60th. And never miss a meme or milestone. All protected with end-to-end encryption. It's time for WhatsApp. Message privately with everyone. Learn more at whatsapp.com.
Okay, it's that time. You can pause us and go watch the trailer in the show notes and then hit play and hear our reactions to the new upcoming movie, Dust Bunny. Okay, so we have just watched Dust Bunny. See, I told you, Sarah, that it wasn't as weird as Wuthering Heights.
It was weird in its own special way.
Yes.
Yes.
It was weird in a Brian Fuller way, really.
Yes.
So I'm so happy that this is I just love the fact that I'm getting fresh reactions. So, Carla, what are your reactions to Dust Bunny?
I am in. Let's go see it now.
Let's just leave.
Let's go camp out and go see it. Okay, no, I'm not that in. I have other stuff to do in my life, okay? But I am very intrigued. It looks like a very interesting movie. I like movies where there are kids and I feel fairly confident that nothing's going to happen to her, or at least nothing irreversible. Because that for me is a line. I have a really hard time with that. But it looks like she's actively involved in the plot, which is something that I enjoy. Movies lately it's kind of like the 80s again, where kids are actively in horror movies and in scarier things in ways that, they're not I'm gonna it looks like fun and it looks creepy and I'm very into that.
Yeah. So Sarah, this was a lot easier to watch than Wuthering Heights, right?
With Wuthering Heights, that was a hot mess. I'm never, like I said, I never read the book, but that just looked like a hot mess. No, I'm intrigued by this one. This was not on my radar at all and hadn't heard of it, but I am definitely intrigued. And I think this will be one that I will be seeing in December. I agree that it seems like the girl this is going to be centered around her and her story. So, yeah, I'm in. I'm in for this one. Wuthering Heights, not so much, but I don't care if it's coming out of Valentine's Day. Have fun, Adrian. But yeah, I'm definitely intrigued.
Yeah, I am too. And I have to say, because when I was looking for a trailer to watch, for us to watch, I just look through, like, there's an account I follow and a couple other accounts and look at recent trailers. And this was actually on Bloody Disgusting. They had shared it. And I was like, okay, I'll watch this. This probably won't be the one I'll select. And I was like, holy crap, this looks really good. And I was drawn in right away. I love Mads Mikkelsen. He's such a fantastic actor. If anyone hasn't seen the movie The Hunt, one of the best movies ever, I will warn you, it does have to do with child abuse and stuff. So if that's a trigger, be very cautious. And, and I'll ask both of you in a second about Hannibal, but it definitely centers, you can definitely tell that the girl is really important and that it is their story, because not only with all the clips, but she gets second billing when they are talking about people in it. Normally in a trailer like this, you would have Mads, his name, and then you would have Sigourney Weaver. And you wouldn't have had her name in there, or it would have said, and introducing. But the fact that she gets second billing is really interesting to me. And I agree, Carla. I do think there are a lot more movies that are coming out, horror and otherwise, that are centering kids. And it is an interesting thing to look at. But I think it looks really intriguing. I'll be interested to see if there really is a real monster, and if it is what it looks like. I have to say, when I was watching this trailer at the first time, I kept waiting for a huge bunny. And I'm scared of bunnies. Hey, I am not scared of snakes. I'm not scared of, sharks, but I think bunnies are not good. And
I was wondering why this movie. I'm like, it's either a very, very scary bunny or it's no bunny.
Yeah. So, but maybe there will be a bunny in the end. I don't know. But I did want to just quickly ask both of you, did either of you watch Hannibal?
No, I didn't.
Okay. I watched Hannibal, the first season and a little bit of season 2, and I stopped. I've watched a lot of horror in my life. It's really the performances are amazing. The writing is great. I actually felt sick to my stomach, this show. I've never felt so, and it's got a huge fan base, and I'm sure some of you are listening right now. And I'm sure some of you have probably wanted us to cover this show because it has, the Hannibal and Will ship. That's a huge ship in fandom. Brian Fuller is actually very, very supportive of that ship. And he's actually a really awesome person. But it made me, there's this episode, and I was like, I cannot believe this aired on network television. It was so disturbing. And I just don't like the character of Hannibal. That's why I hate Silence of the Lambs. I hate that character. And so this show is so centered around him that it's really hard to watch for me, but I know it has a huge fan base. So that was another hesitation, to be honest, with watching this, is that I was worried. I was like, okay, is this going to be in that realm? And it does have touches of him in it, but it feels, I don't know, different than that. So I'm definitely in. Yeah, we're going to all go see it together on December 5th.
Let's do it.
If it was coming out a little bit earlier, it could be my birthday movie, but no. Okay, well, we're going to take another quick break, and then we're going to talk about AI. So, again.
Yay, AI, my favorite.
I know.
Love it so much.
So we'll be right back.
This episode is brought to you by State Farm. Checking off the boxes on your to-do list is a great feeling. And when it comes to checking off coverage, a State Farm agent can help you choose an option that's right for you. Whether you prefer talking in person, on the phone, or using the award-winning app, it's nice knowing you have help finding coverage that best fits your needs. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Okay, so this was not originally what I was going to have us talk about, but I just have to talk about this. So Reese Witherspoon recently was interviewed, and I want to read some of what Reese Witherspoon said because it irritates me to no end. But Reese Witherspoon is welcoming the AI revolution. And this was in a Variety interview or article by Zach Sheriff, and I will share a link to this article in the show notes. And among other things, she said, as a producer, she's always looking forward to how media is evolving and how I can help be a part of bringing women along in those emerging industries. And now we're doing it with AI. Quote, it's so important that women are involved in AI because it will be the future of filmmaking. And you can be sad and lament it all you want, but the change is here. It will never be a lack of creativity and ingenuity and actual physical manual building of things. It might diminish, but it's always going to be the highest importance in art and expression of self. And then Witherspoon went on to say about how she uses AI all the time, constantly, to search tools like Perplexity, to the AI shopping agent Vetted AI. And she said, quote, like if you're buying a blender, it'll show you 6 different blenders and also recommend the best product. So she goes on to basically sound like a commercial for AI. So Carla, what are your thoughts on Reese Witherspoon saying this? And do you basically think this is the route that the industry is going to take?
It is with that attitude. Because that's the thing. It's like, it doesn't have to go that way. This, people talk about it. People like her, because not everybody, but people like her talk about it like it's inevitable. It is very, very inevitable. And the thing is, she's happy to talk about this and how it helps her buy a blender. But there are so many things that she is not even touching on. First of all, creativity. Okay, cool. It helps you, maybe. That makes me question the limits of your creativity, because if you need AI to help your creativity along, that tells me that maybe you need to delegate some stuff to actual artists, because there are plenty of human artists out there who would love the opportunity to work with Reese Witherspoon and be paid by Reese Witherspoon. If Reese Witherspoon's, bag is drying up, I don't know when she's making it, everybody else's problem. But if you aren't willing to invest in artists, you're not willing to invest in women. Women already have it hard enough in any industry. In the arts, it's still incredibly hard for women, graphic artists, women in voiceover. Women in these segments that are more or less hidden have a much harder time breaking through because, first of all, there are men. And men, they like to take up space. And people are like, I don't know that a girl can do this. So there's right there, how are you helping women if you are not hiring and paying women? You have that element of it. You have the environmental element of it. I am so happy, Reese, that you can go and waste time on AI to try and find a blender when AI centers and data centers are popping up all over the country, and they are wreaking havoc on the nation's water supply. Because guess what, Reese? Every single time that you look up something and you use AI to do it, water is needed to cool those overheating servers, because it's not like those things just spring out of thin air. They have to come from somewhere. And that somewhere is a machine in somebody's backyard where they are no longer getting the amount of water that they need for their daily life, or where the water that they're getting is being polluted by runoff. Additionally, it takes a lot of energy to run these data centers. And guess what's happening? These places are being set up and they are taking up a lot of power, but because they're run by rich people, these rich people don't want to pay for that power. So guess where that money's coming from? It's coming out of the pockets of the people who live in those areas. There are places in the country where already people are seeing their electric bills double. At this point, we don't know where it's going to go. Double. Because they are subsidizing, whether they know it or not, the power for these places to run. So every time, Reese, that you go and you look up blenders, I'm happy that you feel satisfied with what you're getting out of it, and don't give a single damn about how that's affecting anybody else on the planet. Water is a precious resource. Energy is such a complicated thing because we need it for the world that we live in today, but we also are not investing in renewable energy. I don't see you putting your money towards mitigating any of that. So again, not paying women to do art, not paying women to be creative. And yet you're telling us that you're doing this because women need to be involved in it, because women. Screw the lady who can't pay her electric bill anymore. Screw the lady who can't, wash her clothing or even drink a cup of water because the tap isn't running well, or now the water is iffy. But that's okay because Reese Witherspoon gets to buy another blender. And speaking of that, let's talk about consumerism. The fact that this is being posited as a plus because you can shop better. Did you really need another blender, Reese? Did you? Could you have maybe repaired your previous blender or made do with a blender that probably was perfectly fine to begin with? You don't need a new upgraded blender. And I'm just talking about blenders. Think about everything else that Miss Witherspoon and whoever else out there is using or is trying to shop for using AI. I am so happy for you that you're getting 15 recommendations for something that you probably already have 15 of in your home. But you are just contributing to landfill waste, because I am certain that of all of the people who are happily using AI for this purpose, they're not out there consuming consciously. They're not out there thinking, well, do I really need to contribute to the pollution of the world via fast fashion? Well, I'm not rich like Reese Witherspoon, but I would really like a new wardrobe, and I can get it through Shein, which is unbelievably cheap. Screw the environment. Let's do this. That top looks cute. There is at no level is she thinking about women. She's thinking about theoretical women. She's thinking about these imaginary women who are not impacted by her actions. Every word that she's saying is an action because she's putting it out there and trying to normalize this tremendously wasteful and damaging thing that is AI. At this point, nobody is looking at AI as something that can be improved for the betterment of people. People are just throwing it out there to see what'll stick, using it because it's like, well, you gotta jump on board. You really don't. It is very preventable, the way that AI is corroding our daily lives. But there's no thought to the impact of that. There's no thought to, you know what, maybe let's hold off until it is more energy efficient, until it is more precise, until it is actually useful in a way that doesn't contribute to the, crumbling of our planet in our society. AI, the idea that AI is neutral has never been true because AI, quote unquote, learns from humans. Humans are unbelievably flawed, unbelievably racist, unbelievably lots of other ists. So all of that is being taken by AI and used to influence people, whether they know it or not. So whenever you do a search on Google and the first thing that comes up is an AI summary, that's water somewhere that's being diverted to that facility. That is information that you're not actively looking, that you're not actually like parsing through because you're just looking at the summary and being like, that's the answer. Not bothering to read anything else. You're not bothering to look any deeper at anything that you're looking at. I know that's another problem with ChatGPT is that people are like, I'm just going to ask ChatGPT, as if ChatGPT actually gives you real answers. It gives you the answers that are available there, but they don't do any actual digging because it is still a very imperfect data source. And people are not waiting until this is refined and it is improved to the point where it is actually contributing to humanity and not taking from it. But nobody wants to listen. And you have people like her who are contributing to the normalization of it and contributing to the idea that it is a necessary thing, that we just have to get on board and everything will be fine. Good for you, Reese. Good for you, Reese Witherspoon. I am so glad that you don't have anything to worry about. I'm so glad that there's nothing about this that is worrisome to you. I'm so glad that in your world, you are helping people by telling them, hey, let's all use AI. We need to just jump on this. Really? That's how you think you're helping people. Have you given no thought to anything besides what you are going to get out of it? Because the answer to me seems like you haven't.
Yes. Sara?
I don't know if I can follow that up. That was actually, Carla, I was looking at this from just a creativity standpoint and, AI replacing jobs and that sort of thing. I wasn't even thinking about the environmental impact that it's having. So thank you.
I'm sorry to step in here, but just one thing. If we don't have resources to keep ourselves alive, by eating
Right.
and drinking water,
Right.
what is creativity for anyway if we're all going to be dead? So,
Right.
not to
No,
be dramatic,
no.
but
I'm like stammering here because I really don't know how to follow that up, because that was a completely different way to look at it than where I was going from it. So thank you for kind of opening my eyes to that, because I didn't that wasn't even something that I was thinking about. And that's I will now be looking at AI a little bit differently than I was.
it makes me a little bit angry. I don't know if you could tell.
No, not at all. Anyway, the point I was going to make here, and this is from the article, and it's a quote from James Cameron. But, this is what he says. I just don't personally believe that a disembodied mind that's just regurgitating what other embodied minds have said about the life that they have, about love, about lying, about fear, about mortality, and just put it all together into a word salad and then regurgitate it. I don't believe that's ever going to have something that's going to move an audience. You have to be human to write that. I don't know anyone that's even thinking about having AI write a screenplay. And I don't agree with James Cameron on a lot of things, but he's absolutely right on that.
Yeah.
And I know I've said this before regarding AI. You just, I don't see it as something to get on board with in terms of creativity, because you're just not going to get that emotion from a bot per se that you are going to get from human writers. So yeah, if like you said, if Reese Witherspoon does want to empower women and get more women into writing and directing and entertainment, AI is not the way to go. Yeah, hire women, hire actual human beings, and not rely on a machine to do that work. That's really all I have about that. But
yeah.
I can't believe this is making me agree with a man.
And James Cameron of all.
James
I
Cameron
know,
of all
of
people.
all
I
the
know.
men.
That's-
Although he did give
know.
us the Terminators, so it makes sense that he would be
Yeah.
the one that would say that, because
That is true.
we never listened to like art in a way too,
Right.
because that was telling us exactly where this kind of thing can lead to on top of the environmental impact, on top of people losing their jobs, on top of all of that is the destruction of the world. And when you have things that are taking over and machines taking over that don't have empathy and don't have any kind of awareness like we do, that leads to big trouble. And especially when those get into the hands of people that are really not set on making the world a better place, but set on making money and then making the place worse for other people. Yeah.
Yep.
And it actually, it's interesting because, and even though it doesn't have anything to do with AI, but it reminds me a little bit of, I went and saw The Toxic Avenger because, they're doing the whole thing with medical debt and paying off medical debt. And it's amazing, the campaign that they're doing. I talked about it a couple of weeks ago. And so that's why I went to go see it. And honestly, The Toxic Avenger, what it is about is not only medical stuff, but classism and the fact that this basically like this factory that is spewing out all these toxins into the water and that are poison and causing cancer and causing all this horrible stuff. And it's put in like the quote unquote undesirable areas of town and the poor areas and where people don't have as much money. And that's what the Toxic Avenger is actually talking about too. And then you've got the people that have all this money, like Kevin Bacon's character sitting up there on their like hill overlooking everything else that's going on and benefiting from it and just trying to find out a way they can use it, including using the pollution in order to make them stronger and more powerful. So in a way, even though that movie is not talking about AI, it reminds me a lot of this because it's the same kind of thing. And go see it if you can. If you can I mean, it's very, very gory. It's an unrated movie and it earns its rating. But if you can handle that, go see it simply to support what they are doing. I mean, it's because they're a small independent studio, so they haven't completely been swallowed up yet by the capitalism machine. So just imagine if Marvel did anything like that.
Right.
I mean, oh my God. Or
Right.
imagine if Reese Witherspoon did anything like that.
I could try, but I know that I can't.
That's the thing is Reese Witherspoon hiding behind saying she wants to empower women. She's hiding behind that in order to use something that she wants to make more money off of. Because the only women she's going to try and empower through this are the people that she's already empowering, or the people that are just like her, the people on the same, ladder, the same income bracket, the same, success in Hollywood as her. Those people that she's already surrounded herself with. And this also just, I don't know, solidifies the fact that I've heard she's not a nice person in real life. So this just kind of solidifies that for me. I'm not going to add too much more because of time, but I did want to make that comparison there to the Toxic Avenger and the pollution and everything. And also, why do you need AI if you're going to shop for stuff anyway? You do not need AI to shop for stuff. You can go to a fucking physical store. I know those are not fun, but you can also do comparisons. You can ask friends. You can be like, if you really desperately need a new blender, your blender broke, say, and you need a new blender, ask your friend, where did you get your blender? You don't have to be like, AI, show me blenders.
That's another job that I'm taking because there are people who who are dedicated to doing comparisons of stuff and publishing about it.
Oh, yeah.
So now they don't get to work either.
Yeah.
Thanks, Reese.
The good housekeeping people or whatever.
Yeah.
Or Consumer Reports.
Yeah, Consumer Reports.
Screw the course.
That's what I was trying to look for. But yeah, and we will soon be talking about podcasts and AI because there's a new company supposedly, and I have to look into this, that is creating podcasts all with AI people, AI scripts, all of that. So yeah, so we'll talk about that too at some point. Yes, we are going to continue to talk about this, but we are going to wrap up this episode of Pop Culture and Fandom News. And I just want to thank Carla and Sara for being on here and discussing things. And sorry if I get everybody's blood pressure up with some of our topics, but I had to talk about it. I know, I'm sorry. But anyway, we're going to go ahead and close out. So Carla, tell everybody about OK real quick and where they can find it. And it is not AI, it is Carla hosting it.
It's me talking, sometimes also ranting, but you get to find that up for yourself when you listen to OK real quick on whatever platform you found this podcast. You can also find my several and growing TikToks and my skyrocketing Blue Sky posts, whatever they're called, on social media. Look for @OKRealQuickPod wherever you social your media. And you can also look for me and my art and my musings at Carla Temis, only exclusively on Instagram and TikTok because I can't be bothered with anything else. You can also find my website, which I also run myself. Poorly, but I run it myself. And that is carlatemis.com. CarlaTemis.com.
Thank you. They should be called clouds on Blue Sky. I'm sending out a cloud.
I'm sending out a cloud. Yes, I'm clouding
that would
out
work.
there.
This is a dark cloud. This is a storm.
Clouded me. I'm so sad.
This is a storm cloud. This is a cumulus. I don't understand science.
A storm cloud. A storm cloud is like a raging thread of clouds. Yeah. I love it. I love it. By the way, if you do Google anything, if you're looking for me online and you're like, hey, I want to look on Google for Carla Temis, do -AI in all of your searches, because then that means that you're asking it to not use AI for searches. Learn that on TikTok.
I will do that from now on.
Thank you.
I did not know that.
See, TikTok does educate.
And Sara?
You can find me on Instagram at NateCamMom. That is NATE CAMMOM, or on TikTok at Sara A. Barnick, SaraABarnaik.
Thank you. You can follow Fergie the dog. It's her favorite time of year is coming up here. She loves the horror. She loves the horror movies. She loves true crime, and she loves Abbott Elementary. When I leave and go somewhere and she's alone, I turn on Dateline on live stream, the live channel for her to watch Dateline. I'm not kidding. Instead of like dog TV, I leave on Dateline.
And here I'm playing classical music for my dogs.
And I leave on Dateline. Yep, we leave that on for her. And so she can just, rest and be calm watching Dateline. So, yeah. But you can follow her on TikTok at Schroeder and Fergs. That's SCHROEDERANDFERGS. It's long, but it's worth it. For all our past episodes, to find links to all our social media, to find links to our Patreon, go over to our website. It's afandomthingpod.com. And for our Patreon, for as little as $3 a month, you get bonus content. You get ad-free episodes. You get episodes a day early. And you occasionally win prizes. Our upcoming horror trivia month is... Yes, it is a month. Yeah, oh my God. Oh my God, I have so much shit to do. Sorry. So anyway, that is coming up in October. We have great categories. We have great theme nights, queer horror, terror on the small screen, rules to surviving a horror film, and decades of horror. And there are contestants that are going to be playing. And as a Patreon supporter, you choose your contestant and you get their points. Plus, I'm going to be adding a little twist to that to make sure there's not a huge tie for first. And then you win prizes, and you don't have to know anything about trivia. So come and become a Patreon supporter today by clicking the link in the show notes or on our website. It's afandomthingpod.com. Click the Support Us tab there. And Friday, Carla and Sara will be back to talk about Alice in Chains. So until next time, remember, it's a fandom thing. Black Lives Matter, stop Asian hate, and free Palestine.
Doug. Here we have the Limu Emu in its natural habitat, helping people customize their car insurance and save hundreds with Liberty Mutual. Fascinating. It's accompanied by his natural ally, Doug.
Limu, is that guy with the binoculars watching us?
Cut the camera. They see us.
Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Savings vary. Underwritten by Liberty Mutual Insurance Company and affiliates. Excludes Massachusetts.
Your sausage McMuffin with egg didn't change. Your receipt did. The sausage McMuffin with egg extra value meal includes a hash brown and a small coffee for just $5. Only at McDonald's for a limited time.
Prices and participation may vary.